so today's topic is going to be about making sacrifices, and what has compelled me to make this video is because I have been reading a lot about no spend Januaries. I guess a lot of people are participating in no spend January to kind of kick off the year, or even to recoup from, you know, the last quarter of 2017 with the holidays and all of that. Now, my first no spend month was in November, and I followed up with a no spend month in December, and I am even going into January. And so I'm sure a lot of you have questions about how I could possibly be doing a no spend month whenever you see this or that, but we're going to talk about all of that. So whenever I joined the planner community, and I did that at the exact same time that I started budgeting, because I started budgeting with a planner, and so they literally go hand in hand for me. I am basically a budget planner. I do have planners for other areas of my life, but for the most part, I basically identify as a budget planner. And so whenever I joined the planning community and I was looking to them for ideas about using the budget planner or the budget extension pack and all of that, you know, it was great. And in that, though, I was reading a lot about this whole idea of a no spend. So I had never heard of a no spend, because I don't think I'd ever done a no spend or even attempted to do a no spend. And so basically a lot of the women in there, it's pretty much women, a lot of them were, some of them were participating in no spend months, and that was where they were essentially trying to not spend money on planner supplies. I then learned after I joined some of the budgeting groups that were not related to planning and all of that, a lot of people actually, you know, participate in no spend months each month, where they try to cut back in a particular area. A lot of people will ask, can they buy groceries on their no spend month, or gas? And of course you can buy groceries and gas. Essentially, you do make your own rules with the no spend, but honestly, you can kind of do whatever you want. And I say that meaning, if you are not willing to, let's say, sacrifice your allowance for a no spend, or makeup, or eating out, or whatever the case it is, then essentially, you know, you're going to see the results of that. So it's just like a budget. Your budget doesn't like magically work. You have to do the work. If you do the work, your budget's going to work. And so it's essentially the same thing. If you say you're going to do a no spend month, or you're thinking about doing a no spend month, but you're not really willing to make any sacrifices, then you're going to see that at the end of the month, when you haven't saved anything, or you haven't challenged yourself, and you haven't bettered yourself in any way. You're going to see those results. And so anyway, after reading about no spends and all of that, I figured that was something that I wanted to engage in. So I started my first one in November. I did invite my husband to join. You guys saw that he failed on like the first or the second day. It was fine. I proceeded, because a lot of people seem to think that they need their spouse to do a no spend. Obviously, having that support will probably be great. I wouldn't know, because my husband does not participate in no spend months. But honestly, this isn't about him. He is not a spender. I'm a spender. I need to learn how to control my spending and control my finances with or without him. Obviously, I'm hoping that we will have a prosperous marriage and be together for, you know, a long time. But either way, I'm my own person, and so I need to learn how to control my spending over here, and I need to learn how to control my finances. And, you know, obviously they're our finances, but I needed to learn, and I'm still learning now, just exactly how to manage finances. And so, like, again, although we have, you know, combined money and joint accounts and all of that other stuff, essentially our thought processes around finances were different. I'd like to think that they are the same now, and I'm much better for those no spend months and challenging myself. But essentially, they definitely weren't in the beginning, I can tell you that, because I was a spender and he was a saver. And so whenever we started the no spend, whenever I did my first no spend challenge in November went well. I do remember that I sold a planner, and my husband actually sold something too. He did try. He sold something, and we took that money, the proceeds, and we purchased some things that we wanted. So that was, you know, what we did. Again, we were still meeting our goals. So a no spend is whatever you want it to be. In December, I did the same thing. Obviously, I got new studio lights and all of this stuff, but technically what I set out to do, I was able to accomplish. And so for November and December, my goals, what I wanted to not spend money on out of our monthly income, was planner supplies. And I can say that in December, aside from the stuff, the gift cards that I got at the end of December, I did not spend any money on planner supplies. In November I did, because I sold a planner and bought 2 new planners. I sold an expensive planner and bought 2 less expensive planners. So essentially I still bought those supplies, but I can honestly say that in December, aside from the gift cards, I 100% met that goal. Same for makeup. I have not bought makeup since like October, and I wanted to, for me, challenge myself to not spend money on makeup and planner supplies. And so I want to actually do that for all of this year. And it's really like a mind thing. That's what I'm learning. Like, for example, my planners will all, they'll be done in December of 2018 because they're only for a year. And so essentially I'll need new planners, probably at the end of December, or maybe I'll even wait until January to buy them. But I'm committed to not buying any new planners. And especially no new planner supplies. I'm actually going to try to go the whole year, and I've gone months, essentially. In my mind, I've gone months. I'll forever, when people ask me what I want for this or that, I'm going to say gift cards to Ulta or Sephora or Michael's or Hobby Lobby or Joann's so I can go get the stuff that I want. That would be crazy not to ask for something that I actually want. So I'm going to be doing that, which is what I've been doing for the last couple of months, pretty much just using gift cards and stuff that people have given to me to get my wants met. But that's what I plan to do for 2018. Makeup. Now, makeup is tricky, but again, it's like a mind thing. So I don't wear makeup. You guys have probably seen me with makeup on in the last couple of months, maybe once or twice, because I literally wear makeup like once a month. And so my makeup will expire. Most of it expires after 6 months or a year. But essentially, I don't really have to replace it because I don't really wear makeup. It's just a mind thing. Like, I can tell myself that I need to replace the makeup in case I want to wear it. But in all actuality, I never really wear makeup anyway, so it's not going to really make a difference whether or not I have a large stash of makeup. And so those are the 2 things that I'm actually willing to sacrifice for all of 2018. Those are the 2 things that I've been trying to sacrifice, or that I did essentially sacrifice for the last quarter or so of 2017. And I kid you not, I have come out so much better for it. And I just, I can honestly say, I feel like I can say that I don't even have like a spending problem. I once used to have a spending problem. I can honestly say that I don't have one, which brings me to my next point. And this is the point of this whole video. When you are starting budgeting, you have to figure out what you are willing to sacrifice. I would say it will behoove you to figure out what you're not willing to sacrifice, but definitely what you're willing to sacrifice. So eating out. We used to spend like $500 eating out each month. I tell no lies. Some of you guys probably spend more than what you think. But then again, some of you guys probably are spending right now worse than us. But you have to figure out, are you willing to sacrifice that? Obviously, December was a wash. I don't know that November was that much better either. But I can honestly say, since we started budgeting in June, we have not been spending $500 and $600 eating out each month. So that's a category that we were willing to sacrifice, but not completely. And the reason why we're not really willing to sacrifice that completely is because our idea of a date night is literally going out to eat. We're not willing to sacrifice a date night for anyone. Like, we will always have our date nights because we've been having date nights for as long as we've been together, which is years. And so we're not willing to sacrifice that just to get out of debt. We will forever keep, our marriage has to be like intact, because I would say, had we not come together to do this, I don't know where we would be. And so, like, keeping our relationship healthy and working towards our goals is of the utmost importance. So we're not sacrificing the whole eating out thing, because our date night includes going out to eat and coming back home. That's a great date night for us. So we're not sacrificing that. I have essentially sacrificed the traveling. I'm sure you guys have maybe figured this out by now. I don't know if I've ever said it. I feel like I have. Traveling took up like thousands of dollars each month for us, and traveling is kind of my thing. Eating out is kind of my husband's thing. I feel like I've mentioned that before. So just off the top, from cutting back traveling as much as we were, we have opened up thousands within our budget, and that's how we're able to make such financial gains. So we've never been like short on cash. We just spend all of our money on traveling. Not to say that traveling is bad, but when you don't save any money, when you go to work and you literally spend all of your money on traveling and you don't invest any or save any or anything like that, I'd say traveling isn't the best idea. And so while I have not completely sacrificed traveling, I have not planned any trips since we started budgeting. I've gone on a few trips. I will go on a few more trips, but those weren't my plans. Those weren't my ideas. Like family reunion, class reunion, my friend's birthday trip. I have other friends and such, and people, you know, going home for the holidays and all of that. I'm not willing to sacrifice that travel. Unfortunately, I live far away from my family members and friends, so I have to travel to them. So am I willing to sacrifice going to travel to them for certain occasions? Absolutely not. My husband, was he willing to sacrifice his cable? Absolutely not. Will he sacrifice it now? Maybe, but he was not willing to sacrifice his cable. Another thing that we were not willing to sacrifice is our Sundays together. That's the only day that we have off together, and we live for Sundays, and we will not sacrifice our Sundays together. Absolutely not. Even if we just stare at each other all day long, that's a good Sunday for us. We will not sacrifice our Sundays to go to work. You know, that's pretty much what I mean. We're not going to sacrifice our Sundays to go work a second job, you know, because if I worked my actual part-time job, I'd have to probably work on Sundays. If he picked up a job, considering Sundays is the only day that he's essentially off from his full-time job, he would have to work Sundays. Neither of us are willing to pick up a job that will require us to work Sundays. It's just not going to happen, and that's what we're not willing to sacrifice. Another thing that we have sacrificed for sure is like the whole beauty thing. So like, I haven't gotten my eyebrows done. I don't even know who I am anymore. I have not gotten my eyebrows done probably since May or April. Kid you not. I did get my nails done when I went to Puerto Rico. That was a bad idea because essentially I wasn't going to pay to keep them up and go get them filled in. So I just let them, you know, pop off or whatever. My hair used to be kept up. It looks the way that it looks now. I think I'm most sad about my eyebrows. Even though they are cheap, I still can't justify spending $20 a month trying to get my eyebrows done. Anyway, pedicures. We used to get manicures and pedicures together. We don't do that. My husband used to get his hair cut at like his favorite place, which is more expensive. So he doesn't do that obviously because his haircut is like $14. So those were categories that we have essentially sacrificed. Obviously my husband has to get a haircut. I don't have to get my hair done by anyone. I can do it myself. I don't want to. That's why it looks like this. I could technically do my eyebrows by myself. No, I could technically do my feet or his feet, honestly, and our nails or whatever. I haven't done that at all, but technically I could. Technically he could probably learn to cut his own hair even, but I mean, that whole beauty category, I'm pretty sure it has gone from a couple of $100s a month to basically like $15, and that's my husband going to get his hair cut. And so that was a category that we were willing to sacrifice for sure. And a lot of people will think that I'll hear a lot of people say, that I call BS. Actually, this is what I call BS on. When people say, you know, well, I don't have to do a no spend month. We don't have to do a no spend month because we are in a good enough position. I don't care if you're a millionaire. Challenging yourself, that's essentially what you're doing. Challenging yourself to save money. Challenging yourself to save money is something that everyone can benefit from every once in a while. So to say that you are in the position that you don't have to do a no spend month, not to say that people have to, but to say that you're just well off, that you don't have to do it, I call BS on that. Because essentially I could probably get away with saying that, and some people might actually believe me. But honestly, I am not in any position where I need to be spending my money on whatever I wanted. Obviously at this point we could probably contain our money and put less towards debt, but that's not what I'm willing to do. So I'm not willing to sacrifice. It's another thing I'm not willing to sacrifice, the amount of money that we're putting towards debt. I need that to be at $3,500 a month minimum. I would prefer $5,000 or more each month. That's what I would prefer. The quicker that we pay off debt, the quicker that I can get back to traveling and doing the things that I want. And so anyway, I just call BS on people who say that. But other people will say, oh, I could never do a no spend month. You totally could, but you have to figure out what you're willing to sacrifice. It's the exact same thing as budgeting, the same concept, because doing a no spend is basically like a month of budgeting or being on a strict budget. So a lot of people will say that they can't do a no spend month. They are incapable. A lot of people will say that they can't do a budget, that they're incapable of doing that. You absolutely can. You have to figure out what it is that you're willing to sacrifice. Again, I think it's a good idea to figure out what you're not willing to sacrifice, but some of that you really have to justify that category. So like buying new clothes in a month, if you can actually fit your clothes. That's a sacrifice I'd say that you could probably make. Getting your hair done whenever your roots haven't grown out too bad or whatever the case is, I'd say that's something that you could sacrifice. Getting your nails done, nobody really needs their nails done. That's something that you can sacrifice. A manicure and a pedicure, you can sacrifice that. Getting your eyebrows done, you could technically sacrifice that. Going out to eat, unless it's for like some kind of function or a shindig, you can absolutely sacrifice going out to eat. Going to shop at Publix and Whole Foods, unless you have some kind of allergy or you can't have gluten or you're on some kind of strict, diet, you can absolutely shop at Aldi or some other cheaper place. And again, it's really about what you're willing to sacrifice. And so again, the whole no spend month, I hear a lot of gripe about that. A lot of people saying that they can't do that. Same with budgeting. A lot of people say the same thing, but they go hand in hand. If you can budget, if you can set up your budget and stick to a budget, you can do a no spend month. And I'm not here to advocate that people do no spend months. I'm just saying that the concept of a no spend month and the budgeting goes hand in hand. You fully have the ability to budget and stay to your budget. Obviously, you are probably going to deviate from it a little bit. We do that even. People think that we are doing great. If I had to rate us in August and September, I would give us a flat out, I'd give us probably a C, which is not passing in my book. November and December, October, November, and December, I'd probably give us a C too. So people think that we are doing well with budgeting and all of that, and I don't want to, be hard on this, but honestly, we can do a lot better. But we have to figure out what more that we can sacrifice, because that restaurants category and some of these other categories suffer each month because we're not really willing to sacrifice, which brings me to my next point. Whenever we go out to eat, whenever we look at our budget and see that we're over and we continue to go over budget, we make conscious decisions to go eat out or to go over budget. Those are conscious decisions that we are making. We purposely make decisions to go over budget and to cause. When we go over budget, nothing bad happens. We don't have to use credit cards or we're out of money. What happens is our debt payment suffers. And so even now, again, a lot of people think that we're doing a really good job. I'd say we have not really done a good job in some months. And so I'd say we have to do much better. And if we want to be out of debt in like a year, we're going to have to up the ante, because what we're doing right now isn't going to work. And so therefore, I'm going to be making some sacrifices in the coming months, year, or whatever the case is. My challenge for you, of course, I have to leave you guys with a challenge every single time, is that you guys will also think about what it is that you can sacrifice. Again, you really have to justify some of the decisions and some of the stuff that you say that you're not willing to sacrifice, that you have to have, that is a need. You're really going to have to justify that as a need. Otherwise, a lot of the times we think that we need something, we totally don't need it. It's completely a want. A lot of people will ask how we're able to put so much towards a debt. And I'll say, because we budget. And they'll say, well, duh. And I'll say, well, that's honestly what it is. But a part of that is because of what we're willing to sacrifice. The traveling, the spending thousands of dollars each month on traveling, we have sacrificed that basically completely. The spending $500-$600 each month on eating out, aside from December, which was a wash, we have pretty much sacrificed that too. And those are the two things that cause us to be where we are. But we still have a lot to do. We have a lot of areas to grow in. And of course, my challenge for you guys today, and my whole purpose for me coming on here today, is to share with you guys and to challenge you guys to make sacrifices, but also to let you know, while it may look like we're doing well, and again, I don't want to be too hard on us, I don't want to beat us up, because we are doing well, but we're not doing as well as we could, and that's just the bottom line. And so if I'm being 100% honest, I don't want you guys to do what you see us doing. Some of the stuff we do well, but for the most part, there are areas that we struggle in. I don't want you guys to be struggling in those areas. So when you see our budget at the end of the month, when we're over restaurants, which is pretty much every month, don't, feel like, that's something that you can do too, or whatever the case is, because that's not okay to be over budget that much in restaurants. Again, we make conscious decisions, and I want to, in the new year, as well as I want for you guys to challenge yourself to do better than what you're doing now. And you have to remember, especially for no spend months, because that's a huge thing. But even for if you're doing the Dave Ramsey plan and trying to get out of debt and pay off all of your debts, it's only temporary, and you're going to get to your goal faster if you work harder. we're not really working that hard. We can up the ante. We can do better for, you know, me and my husband. We can certainly do better. But you have to remember that it is temporary. So the harder you go during that temporary time frame, the quicker you can go back to doing whatever it is that you want to do, or start doing whatever it is that you want to do. If you've never traveled and you want to start traveling after you're out of debt, you can do that. If you want to get back to traveling, aka me, then I can do that after we have completed our goal. And so anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys. Again, my challenge is for you to think about, as you move into the new year, what can you sacrifice? $5 here, $10 here. What can you cut back? What can you sacrifice? Of course, I'm going to do a whole other video about decreasing expenses. But for right now, until I do that, or until you have your own epiphany or find another video talking about how to decrease expenses, my challenge is for you to figure out what it is that you can sacrifice. And so anyway, I hope this video was helpful. If nothing else, I hope that you learned a little, or got a little bit more insight into, you know, how we've been paying off debt at the rate that we've been paying off debt, and what it is that we have been doing, and what it is that we're doing, and what it is that we're going to do as we move into 2018, because 2018 is going to be a big year for us. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you really soon. Bye.